And welcome everybody to the Man Cave. I am Paul Knapp, and I will be your host for this evening's show. Tonight is episode number 26, and waiting in the green room is our special guest, Chad, and he gave me two last names, Finkelstein or Schmuckatoli. I'm not sure which his last name is for real. We'll find that out in a bit. Chad Schmuckatoli or Finkelstein, better known as It's Chad on his YouTube channel. On his YouTube channel, he examines all things good and bad, including action figures, comics, cartoons, conventions, customs, movies, and parallel brands. He also hosts a live stream show called Neon at Night. So check out It's Chad. As always, I'd like to give out a few channel plugs. Tonight, Scooter J's Gym, Jam, and Junk. Check out Scooter J. Also, Dr. Toys, Custom Toys. If you haven't already subscribed to him, I think you'll like his channel as well. And I want to thank all my subscribers, and I will highlight 3 of those new subscribers from this past week. 12 years, Mike Pasco and Don Campbell Jr., USMC. Hoorah, thank you for your service. Next Monday, August 7th, our special guest will be Buddy Finethy. Buddy is a legendary creator and artist. He developed the characters for Mellow Mushroom Pizza Bakers. He was a creative director for musicians like Red Hot Chili Peppers, the Allman Brothers, and Stevie Ray Vaughan. But most importantly, he helped develop Toylanta and will be a vendor at the Joe Lanta show in 2 weeks. Now, let's get started with our introductions. First up,
I'm on the podcast.
We have this gentleman right here.
Call Chrissy.
Oh, somebody's talking there. Who else?
I don't know. Who is that? Angela.
I'm sorry. My mother's
got a hot mic. We got a hot mic.
What's up, everybody?
All right, so here's what you got to do, Jim. This week, my introductions were this. Based on the heat wave that we had in the U.S. this past week, all my introductions tonight are heat-related songs from the 80s.
Oh, boy. Here we go.
Right? So, Jim, your introduction is this. The heat is on this guy on the street, inside your head, on every beat, because the heat is on Jim Egner.
Yeah.
Hey, yeah.
You got to pay attention to your intro.
They're getting worse. All right.
You got to pay attention to your intro because there's going to be a little quiz in a bit, okay?
Crap.
Next up. This guy is hot-blooded. Check him and see. He's got a fever of 103. This is Angelo Dianabel.
All righty.
And finally, we have this gentleman right here. He says, don't wait to see what you got because you know you're hot in the city tonight. This is Will McLaughlin.
How you doing?
And we have one missing player right now. He should be joining us hopefully soon. Of course, we got It's Chad in the green room right now, so let me bring everybody up big, and I'm going to go around and ask you guys a question tonight. The question is this.
Oh, no.
Name the band that I quoted the line from for your introduction.
Well, mine was Foreigner.
Yours was Foreigner. Yours was the easy one. Yeah, absolutely. Foreigner.
Yeah.
Jim Egner, do you know the line from your song?
My song? I don't know. My wife's a musician, so, you know.
Well, it was from a famous movie. Well,
it was a Miami Vice soundtrack.
Yeah, it was on that as well.
And it was Beverly Hills Cop.
It was on Beverly Hills Cop, and I see Chad in the green room shouting it to you, but sorry, he's got
can't hear him. I don't know.
His mic is
Pointer Sisters.
Pointer Sisters, come on! I even gave you one of the older bands, Jim. I thought, well, maybe you might know this gentleman.
Yeah.
That sang this.
It's not Huey Lewis.
No.
Huey Lewis?
Hey, Ange, you got a hot mic, or is that? Oh, that's Jim's wife trying to help him out with.
Yeah, trying to help me out. But
Is it Huey Lewis?
I'll repeat your intro, okay? The heat is on this guy on the street, inside your head, on every beat, because the heat is on.
Dadgummit.
I don't know.
That's Glenn
I
Fry,
got an F
bro.
on that one. Yeah.
Glenn Fry.
Who was it?
Glenn Fry.
Okay.
Glenn Fry. Okay. Yeah.
Willie, do you need me to repeat yours, or do you know who it was?
I have no idea who it was.
Really? Don't wait to see what you got, because you know you're hot in the city tonight. Chad knows it, and he's like 20 years younger than us. Come on, man.
I have no idea.
Billy Idol, man.
Billy Idol. All right.
Big Boss Jack said Elton John. No, Billy Idol, sir. Billy Idol. It's a cruel summer. Scuba Pete's with us. Hey,
Oh, man.
Scuba Pete's like, I'm with you because he's going to be here in 2 weeks as our special guest. So he's going to get a little shocker tonight to see what our show's like.
Oh boy.
If he likes Chad's show, this is nothing like Chad's show. Okay, it's totally off. We're going off the rails early tonight. Okay? So. All right, gentlemen, as always, I like to go around the room and say what's new in the zoo. We're going to start off with the last introduction, but you're number one on my list, brother. Will, what's new in your zoo, brother? I haven't seen you in 2 weeks.
Oh, man. I've just been hanging out, working hard, picking up some stuff. I got this. I'm going to do a custom on this guy. This is a Jurassic Park helicopter I picked up from
very cool
from Target on clearance. So I thought that might be a good adventure team 3 3/4 inch, of course.
Absolutely.
Little job, but yeah, that's pretty much it. Just working.
We don't want to know about work. We want to know about toys, man. Toys.
Yeah, nothing really too exciting other than that.
Angelo, what's new in your zoo, bro?
Yeah, I know. Life's been rough. We've been doing too much around here. I was building a shed today, but I did take a break yesterday, and I took that picture. I don't know.
Dude, that video is awesome, man.
Yeah, some of you saw it. He's right next to me right here with his machete instead of his knife. With we don't have an anaconda. I think this is a python. But I just figured since the Diamond Toys is coming out with that really cool statue, I loved the look of it, and I says, let me see if I can reenact that setup with an actual figure instead of just as a static display.
Does anybody know how big that thing is?
10 inches. The one that they're selling is about 10 inches, so it's going to be a little small.
Okay.
Peter from Skull Reviews is with us. Thank you for joining us, Peter. Largo's Lair. I was looking for your show tonight. I guess the internet's down in Guatemala tonight again. Yeah, move it till tomorrow. Yeah. So, and GIA is with us tonight. So, all right, Mr. Egner, what do you have new in the 3D printing zone for us?
Oh, this was straight up for Scuba Pete right here. Yeah. Been working on a 1/6 scale scuba diver weight belt with working buckle. If I can get it to undo here, I can't see what I'm doing.
Yeah, I see the
Don't break
weight
it.
belt.
Don't break it.
It's got a little snap fastener buckle. So working on that. Let's see. Anybody spot what this is?
Put your hand behind it, bro.
It looks like ammo.
Oh, it looks like an ammo pouch.
It's the German. Yeah, I've got a new camera. I don't know if it's doing it.
No.
But the cool thing about this one, this is an experiment. This is resin printed, but flexible and semi-flexible. So it's a kind of a cocktail of resin. So that's kind of the main stuff. One more here for you. Can you make that out?
Oh,
spare tire.
Well, it's for the Irwin.
Motorcycle.
No, it's one of the armored personnel vehicles.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
On that. So
very cool.
Hey, got the, struts done here for the.
Yep.
Kind of playing around with those last time. Finally got that going. That's pretty much it.
Now, are those the colors that you had that you printed it in, or did you paint those?
That's the color they're printed in.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, I've got one on the printer right now. So yeah, if you can't hear the printer going, it's pretty noisy in here. So maybe my speakers.
Are you allowed? Yeah, it cancels it out. I don't hear anything. That's great.
That's awesome because it's just
now that the Kentuckiana show is over. Are you allowed to show them what you made for it?
Well,
I know what you made because I bought it.
Everything that I made wound up in Turl's booth. Now, one of the things I'm working on for the Joanna show for Turl Ashby is
oh, wow!
This is custom sea sled is what it amounts to. So
very nice,
very cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Now when we get Chad on here, we're gonna have to explain this all to him because he's a 3 3/4 guy. He has no idea. what that stuff is.
Yep. So that's all I got.
That's all you got, huh?
Yep.
It's a lot of stuff.
All right. Well, I know
Great
Mr.
stuff.
Chad has to leave us early tonight, so I think I'm going to bring him in early. We're not going to play around here tonight. We got Scuba Pete in the house. So I do have an introduction for Mr. Chad, and it is another, heat wave thing, but I'm going to bring him in big here. So, Mr. Chad, you're going to have to guess yours as well. Okay, sir? So our special guest tonight, Chad.
Hello.
You know he's going to leave you well. He's hotter than hell. It's Chad.
Woo!
It's Chad.
So, Mr. Chad, what band?
I don't
gave you a
know.
harder
I knew all the others. I don't know. That's how that goes.
Dude, you knew that you were shaking your head with the other three. You were like, yeah, I know that one.
Yeah, I knew all of them, even when Scuba Pete was talking about Bananarama and stuff. And I'm like, come on, I know all this stuff. I don't know.
It's early 70s into the 80s band. I'm saying if anybody's chatting along, if they know who it is. He's going to leave you well. He's hotter than hell. The band is actually from New York originally. I figured you might know them. And they used to paint their faces up.
Kiss?
Oh, was
It
it
is
Kiss?
Kiss. It is Kiss. Hotter than hell. Yeah.
Oh, well, sorry. I don't listen to Kiss.
Oh, you got to sing the songs, man.
I
Not
give
just
it my
recite
best shot, man. And
Had to
Chad,
be
this
Kiss,
is
right?
yeah,
Had
this
to
is
be
where my
Kiss.
show kind of goes off the rails. Okay, I just want to let you know.
Good. Let's do it. Let's
It's
go.
a bumpy ride, bro. Hang on, put your seatbelt on, bro. So, Chad, before we get started on any questions from our field, our panel here, I'd just like to thank you, and I appreciate you coming on my show. I know you're very popular in the YouTubing world, and I follow your channel. I followed it for a little while now, and I really enjoy your live stream shows.
Appreciate that.
So I really want to thank you. I guess you and that gentleman at the bottom both went to the same barber. You got your hair done at the same place. You
Yeah.
and Will.
Yeah.
And
did.
Will, you actually met this guy in person, I guess, yeah?
I did. Yeah, I met him in person. I'll never forget it.
Did you hear the chuckle? He's like, oh, I did. I
No, we-
photobombed Will for a whole day.
We had a great time. It was excellent. And
So he's as
yeah,
cool as
we
he
had-
sounds, or is he totally
guys,
different
if you
in
have
person?
any questions about G.I. Joe Classified, Chad, your guy. He is
He's the guy, huh?
full in
No,
to the
sir.
classified line.
That's funny.
No.
No, when I mentioned classified, I saw his eyes roll. I'm like, uh-oh.
So is Chad as cool in person as he is like on video? Because like I met Scuba Pete this weekend. I was like, Scuba Pete, and it's like he's not that cool, man. He's not.
Oh,
You know.
yeah, we're,
And I'm wondering, is Chad like that too? Is he blood
Chad's
person,
awesome.
or is he?
he's
awesome?
the best, man. Yeah, he's
All
like the mayor of Toy Town, just walking around greeting everyone. He was excellent.
Yeah, the
I'm
first time Will and I hung out, myself and Adam from Go Figure and a couple other guys, we just pulled up in front of the Marriott. Here comes Will, and he gets in. I'm like, "What's up, Will? Let's go." We just, took off like we'd been hanging out for years. And we went and all had some dinner, and I ate all of Will's chips right in front of him very graphically.
Yeah.
It was fun. It was a good time.
Well, that's cool. I know Scuba Pete's. I'm just screwing with him, man. He knows. He'd definitely be a guy to go out and have a beer with, man. After I
Oh
met him
yeah,
this past
Pete's so
weekend.
rad.
Oh,
Pete's so
yeah.
rad, and his
Got to meet
his
Scuba
wife
Pete.
is like a level higher than Pete. So yeah,
Oh, really?
she's fantastic people.
That's awesome, man. Well, let me start off with the first question, and then I'm going to give everybody a shot here, or people that are chatting in too. What kind of channel would you say you run, bro? I'm going to pop you up big here so you can.
Oh, me?
Yeah. What kind of channel would you say you run? For those of my followers that may not know you.
I pretty much just talk 118 scale Joe. I don't really get into classified stuff. It's not my wheelhouse. I don't dig it, so I don't talk about it because even though it's news, it's not something I'm into. So if my heart's not in it, I don't want to talk about it. I restore a lot of stuff. I make a lot of customs. I talk about that. I do a lot of parallel brands too, the old stuff like Soldier Force and things like that. I get into a lot of the Palatoy, if I can point to it properly. Like that's all Palatoy stuff, all Red Shadows. I get into a bunch of that stuff, old Palatoy Action Force stuff. And I'm a big believer that we're the stewards of these pieces of art, and buying pieces that aren't complete, completing them, restoring them, restickering them, things like that. It's something I'm passionate about because as stewards, someday we're going to pass them on to other people. That's pretty much it. I talk a lot about lore. Yeah, I just have fun. Sometimes I go out in my car and I yell and I cuss. It's pretty funny, but it's all just supposed to be sarcasm. It's satire. It's not serious. They're toys. They should be fun.
With our panel, sarcasm is their second language here at this show, man. So they get it. Anybody?
Yeah,
Jim?
sure.
Yeah, chat.
Oh,
yeah,
you know
got a
me,
question.
Paul. I've got a million questions. I always
I know
got
you
to
do,
ask.
bro.
So I'll wind up occupying your whole hour if I had to.
No, that's usually Angelo. So
well,
you go now.
Two of us, you're in trouble. But
Yeah.
Chad, of the 3 3/4 inch line, what is the most rare and hardest to find vintage item?
Are we talking figures? Are we talking anything?
Anything. I know the flag is enormous.
Yeah, flags aren't that, they're not that rare.
Yeah.
No. I would probably say the Cobra Missile Command headquarters, the Sears exclusive, that was the cardboard set. That complete in a box, sealed, is very rare. The Starduster figure, that was kind of a mashup, like a Kit Bash figure. Starduster's really rare. The Gold Head Steel Brigade is very rare, and we're just talking individual figures.
Mm-hmm.
A complete Defiant space launch complex is very rare.
Okay.
Probably those.
So what kind of price range are you talking about on those things?
Oh, some of those could go for hundreds, right?
A complete sealed in box Defiant, you're probably talking $5,000, $6,000.
Wow. Okay.
But a lot of this, right, it depends on seller and timing and things like that. And, you know, market's going to decide. And us as buyers, if we really want an item, like, we're just going to pay for it.
Right.
So I think price is a relative thing. The Cobra Missile Command headquarters, yeah, I'd say $600, 6 to 8 sealed.
Okay.
Yeah, probably.
Very cool. I assume you have these items or some of them?
I don't have the Cobra Missile Command headquarters. No, they re-released it as a JoeCon exclusive.
Oh, okay.
With modern figures, but they did re-release the actual Missile Command headquarters, which was pretty cool, and that's even pricey. And I know we talk about like 3 3/4, like Real American Hero 82 to 94, but all of these figures that you see here, this like 1,000 figures or whatever, those are all moderns. Every single figure right there is a modern. So they're from 2007 on.
Okay.
And a lot of those figures get really pricey. I paid $400 loose for the Cobra Bat version 1.8, which is it's the version 2 from the 90s, but the modern one, they call it 1.8 for some reason. I can never get an answer why, but the Cobra Bat version 1.8 Squad Leader, which is the black and red, not black and orange, $400 loose.
Wow. Okay.
The modern Joes are way more expensive than the vintage Joe-Ren Joes, which I never knew when I started collecting the modern stuff. I was like, modern stuff will be easier to find. No, it's not. It's
Any
not
reason why?
They didn't produce as much.
Okay.
That's pretty much what it was. So I can get a vintage 80s Law and Order for nothing. Complete loose, you get $35 at best.
Because they made a lot of
Right. But the modern one, $250 easy all day. Yeah. It's kind of ridiculous.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, can I jump in? I said I had that cardboard Missile Command. I hated it. I think I don't even think I assembled it. I didn't like the fact that it was cardboard, and it sat in the box in my parents' garage since I had purchased it. And when I moved out, I looked for it, and it was gone. And it was the only thing ever that my parents threw out was that, because it was cardboard, and they didn't think it was anything that I would want. But that was that I had it, and I didn't like it, and they had tossed it. And I see Scuba Pete said the gliders, had both gliders, I flew them like twice, and they didn't fly very well. So I ended up selling those later on when I was an adult. But I had both gliders. I had a little bit of everything, and most of it was, I started collecting right away in '82. I was born in '69, and I kind of missed the heyday of the 12-inch figures. And when in the '80s, when the 3 3/4 inch came out, I bought everything. I would go to Bradley's, Caldor, KB Toy
Caldor,
yeah, and I was like kid in the candy store. Everything that came out, I had it. So from '82 to '87, I had almost every single thing except for the really big things, like you mentioned, like the flag and stuff like that. I didn't have any of those. And then in the '90s, it seemed like everything got goofy and got all the day glow colors, and I totally lost interest in it. And I was getting older, and I was like, all right, I couldn't follow it anymore. I didn't have that passion like I did before. But I wanted to ask you, when did you start? Well, how old were you in the '80s? Did you have them as a child, or is this something later on?
So I want to address something you said before I answer that. The '90s, yes, there's neon stuff in the '90s. There's a lot of spring-loaded launchers and things like that, but it was the '90s. So Joe still had to be competitive, and people like Steve DeGuano, Vinny DeLevia, and I had him on my show, Kirk Vizigian. They decided that they were going to attack all these other brands on every front, and that's why you had like your Star Brigade that held off Star Wars. That's why you had your Eco Warriors and your Dino Hunters and all that stuff, because they were looking at G.I. Joe as a language. So yeah, you did get some freaky stuff with like the Eco Warriors, and I'll even admit that I don't like everything '82 to '94. There's some stuff that are misses, but I have to say there are a lot of winners in the '90s as well. So you have the 1993 Headhunter Stormtrooper, which is, in my opinion, the best army builder ever put out for an enemy team. It's an amazing sculpt. The figure's just fantastic. You have the Ghost Striker X-16 with Ace version 3, which is, in my opinion, the best version of Ace. You have things like the Blockbuster, which is the last large vehicle put out in '94, and I unboxed and built one so I could have a complete example of it. The Cobra Detonator is something else that I like as well, but there's some really good stuff in the '90s that you can't discount just because it's the '90s, and I did the same thing. I was guilty of it too, but that's why I have that show Neon at Night, which focuses mostly on, exclusively on '90 to '94. But Shipwreck version 2 is a winner. That General Flag figure, you didn't even see October Guard figures until that time frame. So there's some killer stuff in there. To answer your question, I was born in 1974. I started off with Adventure People. Then I went into Star Wars when Star Wars came out, late 77, 78 with, here's your box, And then in '82, when Joe hit, I was all in with Joe. My first Joe was Flash. And as soon as G.I. Joe came out, I still had some Star Wars. I had some Transformers. I had Mask and a couple of other lines interspersed in there. But I was primarily a G.I. Joe kid until I got out of toys. And that was right around '88. And that was the same with you, Angelo. I had almost everything. I didn't have a Flag. I didn't have a Terror Drome. I never got a Defiant. Got them now, but I didn't have those big ones as a kid. But I had everything else. So yeah, does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Cool.
I'll get back to you with more because I don't want to take a Wilhelm's next.
Sounds good.
Largo said Fisher Price Adventure People. I think that kicked off everybody before Star Wars came out because I know I had them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have one sitting right here next to my desk, and he's just hanging out.
Yep.
Because I just like to look at him. He's just chilling. So over by my Mask figures.
We had Leonard toys on last week or the week before. Do you have any of those in your collection?
I do. I do have some Leonard stuff. I actually get a lot of the Leonard core vehicles, and I'll tear them apart, and I'll use parts of them to make other custom Joe stuff. Especially those quad missile racks. This one right here. This one from the Jeep. I love this.
Yeah.
Because I can use this on anything. I use this on as armament for a whole bunch of stuff. I made a custom Iron Grenadier Hiss 2, and I put this on top of it. I made a custom Night Force Rolling Thunder, and I took off all the guns that were on the sides and replaced them with these. They're so great. Like, you can use them on anything. They're just fantastic. I do support Lenard, but I kid bash the hell out of him.
He's on tonight too. I just saw him texting. So your turn, Will. You got a question, bro?
No, I don't have a question for Chad. I just wanted to say I was the same way with the 94, the 90 through 94 stuff. Watching Neon at Night, I've picked up a bunch of figures that I have seen. Chad, that Desert Scorpion, I think the Eels version 2. I picked those up. I saw them. I had never known they existed because I was out of the toy game at that time. And yeah, you saw some of the bright glow color ones, and you were like, "What the hell are they doing now?" But there are some really, really excellent designs. And without Chad bringing them to my attention, I probably would have never got them.
So when is Neon at Night? So now I'm going to have to check it out so I can see.
Dude, it's
we were just on last night.
Yeah. I was just gonna say.
So generally, it's bi-weekly, so we'll do every other Sunday, and then the Sundays that I'm not doing Neon at Night, I have a show that I do that's called like Articulated Chat. It's kind of a little tongue-in-cheek sort of thing, and it started off where I was having people who are mostly podcasters, because a lot of people in the YouTube space don't really know the parallel people who only do podcasts. And so I was bringing on podcasters on YouTube so the YouTube audience could see these people and go check their stuff out. Then when Joe Fest started ramping up, I kind of switched gears with that. And then I do another show called Toy Talk. So it just depends. Like, whatever mood I'm in, I'm like, I'm going to ask this chucklehead to come on, and bam, there we go. So, and most of you guys who like the 12-inch stuff, are you aware that in '94 they put out the 30th anniversary commemorative 3 3/4 inch version of the 12-inch figures? Those are fantastic.
Yeah.
I've got them all sealed in box, and I love them. I can't bring myself to open them.
Right.
They're great.
Now, Chad, I'm going to jump in again. So, Chad, did you do any of the mail order when you cut out the little flag points on the back of the packages and mail away? Because I remember how I was so excited when that was a possibility in sending it away. And this is before I even knew who Cobra Commander was. So when that Cobra Commander figure came out, I was like, oh, I didn't know he was going to be the leader of Cobra. So I bought 7 of them. I had 7 of the Cobra Commanders. I still had a couple, I think, in a box. They were still in the mail away box somewhere. But I did, one of them was the Mickey Mouse emblem. And I wanted to know your thoughts. And I had a whole bunch of the Duke. When Duke came out, I did the same thing. And
the 83 Duke with the flag.
Yeah, and the Manta, that I thought was the coolest thing that could go in the backpack. But I wanted to know, you got to going to get it?
That guy?
Yep.
Yeah.
Got a bunch
of
goofy.
It's goofy, right? But it's so much fun.
I love that. I loved it.
I do too.
That it could come apart and it could go in that backpack. I thought
got one right there.
That was very Adventure Team to me, that it could come apart like that. But I was going to say, do you have the Mickey Mouse Cobra Commander, or did you do those mail orders?
I did. When I was a kid, I cut the flag points and did all that stuff. I actually still have a bunch of the flag point mailers. They're just sitting over here by my Xbox and my TV. I just kind of have them out on display. But yeah, I got the Cobra Commander. I got the hooded Cobra Commander. I got the 83 Duke with the flag on his shoulder before he was mass released in '84. I remember getting Starduster as well and a couple others, but got the Manta, things like that. But I sure did. I cut out flag points.
That was excellent. And how about the file cards? Because I have, like you said, I have all the paperwork, every single thing that came. I even had all the boxes. My parents were great. Yeah. They never threw away any of the boxes that came with all the figures that I ever bought. I actually sold a bunch a few years ago because I didn't know what to do with them. And all the file cards. And I know that some people left them on the card itself instead of cutting them out. What's the difference? Is there a difference in their worth or value if you cut it out or you left it right on the backing?
I don't really know if that's a question for me. I don't really I don't center around value and worth and things like that because I'm more of an intrinsic value than a dollar value. But I have a lot of file cards that are cut out like this. I use them as bookmarks. So I just pulled this out of my Belomo guide. I just reached over and yanked it out. I have some that are cut out. I have some where I just remove the blister from the card back and then I just have stacks of card backs. I think it just depends on am I tired of cutting them out? Right. Did I get tired of cutting them out? And they're easier to keep when they're still on the card backs.
Yeah.
Until you get into the 90s when the card backs went to like 19 inches and then everything kind of got thrown out of whack. And then these changed to what's called the baseball style file card.
Yeah.
There are some collectors that don't consider it complete unless you have the card.
Right.
All the accessories and everything's displayed. But
I definitely agree with. Yeah. So I never had the RC Crossfire, the little remote control vehicle.
Yeah.
And when I finally got one, the driver came with his file card. And I was like, okay, that's actually complete.
Oh, that's cool.
But I also don't care at the same time. I would rather have, if you're talking a vehicle with a driver with a weapon and a file card, if I just get the vehicle and the driver and no weapon and no file card, that's fine with me. So some people might say, well, that's only 80% or 85% complete. Actually, it's 87%. I did it, Will. There it is. But I don't care because I would rather have an item that's 85, 88% complete in my collection so I can appreciate it than not have it at all. Whereas
so are you a completist? Are you a have to have it in the box kind of guy? Or are you an open box kind of guy?
Nope. I am an opener. I am most definitely an opener. Sometimes if I have multiples of things, so I have a loose armor bot right there, and then I have one sealed in a box sitting right back there. But I've got one open. I don't need to open the other one. Now, it could be the color variation, but I'm not going to open it to find out.
Just to find out.
I'll just leave it alone. And I'm very much at some point I'm going to know what to do with that sealed one. And until that time comes, I'm just going to leave it sealed. Maybe I'll sell it. Maybe I'll give it to somebody as like a birthday or a Christmas present. Maybe I'll never open it.
There are some accessories that are actually probably worth more than the figure itself, too. Some very rare or very small.
Yeah, heavy duties, Mike.
Yeah, that go missing that could fetch way more. So if you get like a used vehicle, everyone always says shake them around because a lot of times those little accessories fell down inside the Jeep or the tank or something. Yep. You see posts all the time of people pulling good stuff out like that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Very cool. How large would you say your collection is if you had a not dollar figure, just like what we're looking at in your background? Is that your collection, or are you like me? Do you have half of it in the attic, half of it in storage, half of it?
Well, that's two walls, so you really can't see what's on this wall over here or what's on this entire wall in front of me. Plus, I also have. So this is a garage, right? So I converted my garage. We live in military housing. I'm active duty Army infantry, so we go where we're told, which is why a lot of my stuff is just cinder blocks and common boards because I can just tear it down and it's gone. I don't do glass cases, and that's just me because I don't have that kind of lifestyle where I'm that sedentary, where I'm in one spot. Yeah. I don't own this house. But the back side of this garage, so all of these are a false wall. So behind this is the rest of the garage. There's just boxes upon boxes back there too. So my collection is pretty big. I mostly have 82 to 94 complete. Thanks to Scuba Pete, who's in the comments, because he got me my Defiant, and that was the last large item I needed. I don't really like to use the term grail because that's relative, right? When people say there's 5 grails in a line, they're not really grails at that point. Yeah, it's massive. When we moved it, I rented a 17-foot U-Haul truck just for my collection.
Oh my!
Army wouldn't pay for that.
Oh no, they paid for it. Oh, they paid for it. I did what was called a partial ditty. Yeah, right? So I had movers move all this, and no one touched this stuff but me. Because if I break this crap, that's on me.
Yeah.
Luckily, I didn't break anything. But yeah, 17-foot U-Haul, floor to ceiling.
So I'm going to ask a question for Jim Egner. If you needed something 3D printed in 3 3/4 scale, what would be people would be looking for that they don't have, or that's hard to find, or Hasbro never made? Because Jim does a lot of that kind of stuff. You know, if Hasbro didn't make it, he can design it.
I print a bunch of stuff in 3 3/4 scale.
Oh, do you?
I do.
Yeah. Megaforce. Get it. Chad.
You stop it. So
you're a super fan, huh, Will?
I am a big fan of my headcanon G.I. Joe. And my headcanon G.I. Joe can include whatever I wanted to. Snake Plissken, done. Solid Snake, you got it. Megaforce, done.
There it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a Megaforce Delta. It's not a Delta Mark IV because the Delta Mark IV flies. Delta Mark III, right? So that's a Delta Mark III, and that's a safety pin that I just made the antenna. The kickstand over here is actually that's one of the tripod legs from a M2A1 caliber 50 machine gun. So I customized a lot of stuff. I made a 4-inch scale mask rhino. I made a 4-inch scale Venom switchblade, and you can see it right there, hanging on the wall. I 3D print a bunch of stuff. I have a Megaforce Mega Destroyer as well. I have the TACCOM that I'm still working on putting together. But generally, I just print little pieces, parts. So when I'm greebling something together, if I need a seat for a fighter, I'm like, oh, okay, I'll just print the seat up. Done. A lot of people 3D print the tow cables for like the Mauler, the Equalizer, the Wolverine, things like that. So they'll 3D print the tow cables.
Any Joe
3D print a bunch of missiles.
Yeah, with missing parts or missiles, things like that. All great to 3D print.
Taking notes.
That's the beauty of the 3D printing community. I was actually, and I've since abandoned it because it's a little too much above my skill level. But I was working on 3D printing a G.I. Joe scale mask Boulder Hill. That entire mask
That'd be
playset.
awesome. Yeah, that'd be great.
Not the mountain. I was going to carve the mountain and hard coat it and paint it and all that stuff. But the base, I couldn't do the base right because the base has to be so big and it can only be so many pieces for the other parts to fit in. The original model, if you look at scans, it's just one solid piece of plastic. And so that's where I had the problem. It wasn't the storefront that folds down into the armor. It wasn't the doors. It was the base of it and how I was going to fit all that together. So I actually got hooked up with a dude at Joe Fest, and he was like, "Yeah, man, I'll help you finish that." Yes. So
nice.
Yeah, that's my 2-year project right there.
So Chad, do you have the comics, or did you watch the cartoon? And did you collect the comics that came out as well to go along with the 80 line?
Yes, and yes. So I grew up watching the Sunbow series. I also watched the Deke series. I have them both on, DVD, Blu-ray, whatever. Still watch them, still like them. My favorite's actually G.I. Joe Resolute, which was that.
That was great.
Yeah, it was 6-10 minute little mini series.
Yep.
Yeah. Resolute to me is that is G.I. Joe, and I love Resolute. But yeah, I've got comics all over the place. I have a framed first run of issue number 1.
You picked up a couple
Will
nice
and I were
ones at Joe Fest. Yeah, you got.
Yeah, Will and I were at Joe Fest. I had Sergeant Slaughter sign the issue that was his first appearance. And then I had Larry Hama sign a couple specific issues that I really wanted him to sign because one is the first appearance of Serpentor, and that's the cover where Mindbender and Destro are walking out with that wrapped mummy with the eyeball sticking out, and I love that cover. The other one is
Silent Interlude.
all the guys on the Devilfish, they're just blasting because I love that. Was that issue 47?
Yeah.
So there's specific ones that I have signed and framed because the issues bring back specific memories for me. And I got a bunch of hardcover volumes, etc.
Yeah. Do you still collect the comic. I know I'm sure they're up to like it ended at 155, I remember, and then I started collecting them again, but I don't even remember what number they're at right now.
Right. So the Marvel issues ended back then, and then when Larry, my cats are just going to roam in and out. When Larry Hama continued A Real American Hero with IDW, he went all the way through issue 300.
Okay.
Before that ended with IDW. Now another company has taken it over, and issue 301 comes out in September, I believe.
Okay.
But when we talked to him at Joe Fest, he said he's already done all the way through 304.
Yeah.
So there's but then you have all the weird stuff like Devil's Due and different continuities. It gets a little funky, like the Baroness became Cobra Commander.
Yeah.
So, yes, Will.
Chad, you're doing a show where you're discussing a G.I. Joe comic with Jeremy Jernigan right after this show. So
exactly.
So
my buddy Jeremy Jernigan, he's an authority figure. He also does a bi-weekly show on the 3POA podcast with Laser Pants Ryan that's called Loose But Complete. Jeremy and I are both combat veterans. And so we started a show called Joe's Talking Joe, where we go through comics and we kind of look at them through the lens of combat vets. Like, what would you consider this? Is this a sensitive side exploitation, or is this a tactical side exploitation? And we really go through it with like combat arms knowledge. And we're trying to get a lot of veterans who are into Joe to like come hang out with us. He calls it our book club, right? So we just we talk about the comic and we show panels and things like that. We just kind of dissect it. It's pretty fun.
Excellent.
Well, I've been following your shorts that you've been putting up. Your 1-to-1 ratio of those are pretty cool, man. I was like, I can show a bunch of those on base too, man.
Yeah, the MMS, the Hawk missile system.
Oh yeah,
that one was fun. Yeah.
Or
there's actually one down the street.
Transformer one. You were in front of
the F-15 Eagle. Yeah, and I was like, hey, look, you want to see a 1-to-1 sales star screen? Yeah, it's right behind you. Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
The one that did the best was the stupid Coastal Defender. Just a box on wheels with the radar dish. I don't know why.
G.I. Joe vehicle. Oh, it's the best. It's a vehicle.
Coastal Defender?
Oh, yeah. It's a crate. What's not to love about it?
Dude, I know you got to go like in 5 or 10 minutes or so. I do have some questions I got to ask you because I ask everybody that comes on the show. So I just got to hit these real quick. All right. Did you have a favorite toy as a child growing up?
As a young kid, it was my Kenner Star Wars Death Star.
Oh, right on.
When I got a little older, a favorite toy. Probably the G.I. Joe Killer Whale.
Yeah.
Nice. The hovercraft. Yeah, probably the whale.
Cool. Any good childhood memories regarding your toys, either friends, neighbors, Christmas, birthday?
So when my mother divorced my father, she was a single parent raising 2 boys. When she would work during the day and go to school at night to finish her degree, and my biggest childhood memory of my toys and what instilled my lifelong love of toys is that when my mother would come home on nights when she had school and the sitter would leave, and she would have her hands behind her back and she would ask my brother, what's your phone number? Because this is when we all had landlines, right? But she'd ask my brother, what's your phone number? And he would tell her, and then she'd ask me, what's your address? And then I would tell her, and she would pull out figures. So every night that my mom had school, even though she was super busy and she worked her ass off to raise 2 spoiled, snot-nosed little boys, she always stopped at like the Eckards or someplace, and she would get us each a figure.
Very
and
cool memory,
those are my most cherished childhood memories of toys.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Do you remember the day you stopped playing and started collecting, or did you just keep collecting as a kid? I mean.
No, there was a massive gap. So I stopped playing, I want to say in like 88, probably early 88. Skateboarding, music, girls, right? I did the usual thing. Then 90s came around. I joined the Army because of G.I. Joe, right? That's why I joined the Army. And it's the only career I've ever had. I joined the Army, and I had heard that Power of the Force 2 was coming out, so like 95. And I got a part-time job while I was active duty Army at a Walmart in a toy department just so I could buy those Star Wars toys. That's when I became a collector, was like 95.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah. And I told my first line leader, I was like, hey, I'm going to get this part-time job so I can buy toys. He's like, whatever, man. Just tell him this movement. You know what I mean? Like, you're fine. And yeah, so that's when I started collecting toys.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, I do have this quiz coming up, man. And I know you only got like a couple minutes.
Yeah, let's do it.
Are we
quiz
good?
it. Yeah.
I mean, I always have a trivia at the end of my show, so I want to make sure you do it.
Yep.
Jim, you want to just sit this one out because I think these three guys are going to know all the answers, man.
Yeah, I'm probably going to have to phone a friend here.
Yeah. When I
just be quiet. You don't know. Just be quiet.
I was so happy when last week no one knew the answers either.
I screw every one of them up, so that Paul's just used to me getting them wrong anyway.
So all right. So Chad, I got to fill you in, man. So every week I do one of these, and about 2 or 3 weeks ago I did vintage toys. I think they got 3 out of 30 questions right. So I was like, obviously this is too hard. Well, then last week I went like way too easy, and it was board games, and they knew every freaking Monopoly, everything.
Shoots and ladders.
Yeah. So tonight I did this one in honor of you. It's called "Knowing Is Half the Battle," the G.I. Joe quiz, and I pulled these off the internet. So hopefully they're correct. I'll give you the first one, and again, this is not going to be a challenge for you. In the movie G.I. Joe: The Rise of Cobra, what is the relationship between Duke and the Baroness?
Well, he was engaged to her before he got her brother killed, who wound up apparently as Cobra Commander. And then
you are correct. They were once engaged to be married. You are correct. All right. So
you're not going old school enough, though, Paul.
And her name was Anna. Oh, Anna. Oh.
This is a little bit easier. Jim, we'll go with you on this one. You might know this one. What professional wrestler became a regular character on the G.I. Joe cartoon series? Come on.
Triple T Tank. Triple
T Tank. But Jim, you still there?
He drove it.
I'm going to claim ignorance here, so sorry.
Perfect.
Angelo, you know
Slaughter.
this.
Sergeant
Slaughter. The first G.I. Joe cartoon was a 5-episode miniseries revolving around Cobra's mass device. What did the device do, Angelo?
Oh, man. Why am I drawing a blank on this? The mass device, was that the one that transported from one place to the other? Was that the mass
Allowed
device?
Cobra troops to teleport their troops anywhere.
It rearranged and transported matter. Yeah.
Is that the one where Snake Eyes doesn't have gloves on, where his hands are in the cartoon? You're
getting into too much detail for me, brother.
Yeah, with the radiation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That was right. All right. Will, you're up. Why does Cobra Commander wear a mask in the original G.I. Joe Marvel comic series?
Why does he wear the mask? To hide his identity, right? Isn't it?
His civilian identity. Yeah. He wasn't a snake like he was in the cartoons. Like
he was a gold salesman.
Chad's like nipping at the bud.
So what is it? That's what I thought it was.
Yes.
Yeah, I forgot that.
There's a caveat, right? Because he wears a hood when he's just chilling. He puts on the helmet when he's going into battle.
Right.
But yes.
I know. I wanted to ask Chad about Cobra Law because I thought that was, but I know we don't have time for that.
Chad's coming back for another episode because there's too many questions to ask this guy.
I would love to come back and we can talk Cobra.
Chad, in the movie G.I. Joe Retaliation, who kills Zartan?
Storm Shadow.
Yeah, sir. What is Duke's rank in the original cartoon series? Jim, you want to pass again?
Yeah, I'm going to pass on that one.
What did you ask?
What is Duke's rank in the original cartoon series? It's probably Chad's rank right now.
Give it to me.
Angelo, no?
Was it sergeant?
Kind of higher than that. He was a sergeant. He was a type of sergeant. Will?
First sergeant.
It's first sergeant. You are correct.
Yeah.
The first G.I. Joe movie, G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero, was released direct to video and on TV. What year? This is you, Will.
What's that for?
Oh, 1987.
87. Yes.
Yep. You're right.
This is way too easy. What NFL player was made into a member of the G.I. Joe team?
Hey, well, this was the Bears. This is when the Bears were the Bears. And they
Who's that for?
They did the shuffle.
Chad.
Yeah, the Super Bowl shuffle. Refrigerator Perry.
Refrigerator Perry.
I'm just here doing the Super Bowl shuffle. Man, that sucks. That video sucked.
Jim Egner, wake up. It's your turn. Who typically you can pass. You're gonna pass already. You get the question. He's already passed. Who typically pilots Cobra's Rattler jet?
Oh, baby.
Angelo.
Oh man.
Well, Jim passed. You got.
Don't give it to Will. Will's gonna win by default.
I think you and Will are tied right now. Yeah.
Wild Weasel.
Yeah, but Will's
Yes. You got
there
it.
you go.
You got it.
You're not allowed to Google either.
Hey.
We already been over
You're
this.
testing my patience, yeah, dude.
Will, you're up. Which character was the first woman to be released as a G.I. Joe action figure?
Easy.
It was Scarlet.
Yeah.
Scarlet is correct. In the cartoon episode Captives of Cobra, who rescues Gung Ho's family when they're captured by the Baroness?
Bro.
This goes to Chad.
What the fuck? He gets Scarlet and Wild
man.
Weasel. I get like
On this
how
episode,
they
3 minutes and 14 seconds into the
a fig
episode.
and fluffy. I don't know.
No. Ange, do you know?
The Captives of Cobra, and it was Gung Ho's family.
Yeah, Gung Ho's family is right at the end of the cartoon. I remember watching this one. The Baroness's family has him captive, I think, in Louisiana. And Will, do you know it? No?
I don't know.
You guys all got stumped on
I'm
one
going to go with the
question.
Jim answer. How am I supposed to know this? That's what he always said.
They rescue themselves. They don't need help. That's what Gung Ho even said. He goes, my family can handle themselves. They rescued themselves. In 1986, Marvel Comics produced a 4-issue series in which G.I. Joe teamed up with another group. Who were they?
Whose question is this?
Will. Angelo bombed on that last one.
More than meets the eye.
Transformers is correct.
Transformers. Yeah. Hell yeah.
Chad, you keep slowing us down. I'm trying to get you out of here on time, bro.
Well, it's all good.
He goes into detail on every question. So, the Marvel G.I. Joe comic book written by Larry Hama began in 1982 and was a key part of the franchise. How many issues were in the original series? And you already answered this earlier, I believe. 155. You are correct. So we're going to go back to Chad on this next one, the Rise of Cobra movie. What is G.I. Joe's full name? It's an acronym. It's one of them Army things, you know, acronyms. G.I. Joe.
Initiative Joint Operation Echo.
Global Integrated Joint Operating Entity.
Oh.
Yes. Very close. Very close. Angelo, we got 2 questions left. You and Will. In the cartoon, the mass device features at one point both G.I. Joe and Cobra attempting to collect heavy water from the sea floor.
Tube worms.
Is that a real thing? True or false?
Yes,
it was tube worms.
It was. That was an awesome episode, man.
Are you going to answer the question? True or false?
Heavy water, yes. Heavy water is actually a thing.
It is actually a thing. Such pools really exist and contain hypersaline solutions. Last question. Last question to Will, and you can take the lead over Chad if you'd like.
Uh-oh.
Who leads the Crimson Guard?
Oh, get the...
He looks stumped, though.
Yeah, no, but isn't it the twins? You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Tomax and Zaymot.
Tomax and Zaymot, yeah.
Yeah, so...
Extensive.
Now, where does Fred fall into play with that?
I call it chicanery. In this episode,
Chad, I'd like to thank you for being our guest
sitting
tonight.
on the toilet. Thank you for having
Chad,
me.
if you want to take a minute or two and just say where your channel is or anything you want to plug before you head out. I know you're heading out the door right now, so go for it, bro.
It's Chad.
It's Chad. That's it. That's my channel. It's Chad. I mainly just talk G.I. Joe, some crossover stuff, have some fun. They're just toys, right? It should be enjoyable. And yeah, that's it.
Very cool.
I got a TikTok that does mad business. Whatever. People like that short form.
Chad's show never goes off the rails like mine, so you don't have to worry about that if you watch Chad.
Oh, it does. Trust me, it does. Yeah.
Hey, man, thanks a lot for being with us tonight. If the rest of you guys want to hang
gentlemen.
on, but we'll say goodbye to Chad real quick.
Thanks
I
for
had a
coming
great
on,
time.
Chad. Appreciate
Thank you,
it.
gentlemen. Look forward to the next time.
Yes, sir.
Excellent.
Bye to
See you.
everybody in the
Have a good
chat, too. Thanks for having me.
And thank you for your service, brother.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. See you guys.
Here we go.
Take care.
Here we go, man. Very cool. Very cool guest. Hey, Will.
Yeah.
So what's up, man? We got about 5 more minutes before the show's over.
Yeah, Chad's a good guy, man. I'm told you, I never met him before. You know, I watch a show, we talk in the chat, and
Yeah.
minutes after getting to Joe Fest, I get a message from him, come down to the lobby. And, you know, then I'm like, where are you guys? He's like, in the car. And I just see this car, so I get in, and he's like, let's go. You know, first time I ever met him. It was great. We went out, we had a great time.
Man,
Just an
he strikes me as that
absolute
kind of guy.
blast.
I met Scuba Pete this past weekend. He strikes me as that kind of guy too. Like, hey,
Oh,
let's just go out and have a beer, man. It's
Yeah,
cool, you know?
I've run into Scuba Pete. I got to see him at Joe Fest as well. Just, I mean,
Yeah.
just great.
And Jim Egner's the same way. He's just a little bit more low key. He's you know, he would be the duty driver. If the 4 of us went out, Jim would be the driver, and the rest of us, you know, and Scuba Pete, you know. So.
See, Jim was a little out of his element tonight. It's just because when I grew up, I had both. I mean, I had all as much 12 inches as I possibly could with the adventure team, and then when that was gone, it was all 3 3/4 inch. So I lived that up through till the late 80s, and that was my mainstay.
You know, I find the 3 3/4 stuff fascinating. I just, the vehicle design was fantastic. I thought they just did a super job with that.
It would be so cool to have those in.
I'm working on some of them in 1/6. Yeah,
I know
People
there's
are doing
one
them in the
classified
scale.
the printer. Yeah,
Probably the most popular thing in 3D printing right now is to take 1/18 scale and make them the 1/12 scale. It's all over, all over.
Yeah, the Hiss tank and the Dragonfly, but they're big dollars. $274 for the Dragonfly, and I loved it, and I wanted to jump on that for the classified line. It looks so awesome, but I can't see spending that much
Even the
money.
3D printed ones people are putting out, they're charging a couple $100 for those.
Yeah.
but they take a long time to print.
Sure.
Yeah,
and,
they
and
do
you have
take a
to.
long time
That's,
to make.
you charge $1 an hour to print stuff, and it just adds up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking
I know
of,
last week.
how's that?
I know last week.
Vehicle
Go for
going there, Jimmy?
Say again, Angelo.
How's that little tracked motorcycle going?
Oh, it's going pretty good. I
Okay.
put some jet engines on it, but I decided not to. So anyway, it's getting there. It's getting there.
I'm just busting on you, Jim.
No, it's seriously. It's when I'm doing this custom stuff, I kind of cram it in between other projects.
Listen, that's going to be part of a set. That's going to be a box set.
Yeah.
As soon as it's ready to go, I'm going to bust out a box set. I'll show you how to put a box set together.
Okay. Sounds like a winner.
I don't know if you watched my video that I posted earlier today, but supposedly Jim Egner did a couple 3D prints for that box set that I bought this weekend.
Yep, that's me.
So it was pretty cool, and they only made 20 of those, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. So
Jim,
think
did you
Charles
go
got
to
a
Kentucky?
I did. I went to Kentuckiana, 11-hour drive from Virginia Beach, and
No, but did Jim go as well?
No, I couldn't make it.
no. He made something for the show, and they were selling it in a box.
Oh, nice.
I saw his name on the side of the box. I said, I know that guy.
Hey.
I'm seriously. These two guys are going to Atlanta in 2 weeks, and I'm seriously, thinking about how can I put this on another credit card and go there.
It's a new month. You got paid, right?
I know.
worth
Yeah,
it.
right.
My God, just the
I'll tell you what.
experience
If
alone,
Scuba
though.
Pete goes, I will go. I'm waiting to see if he texts something up.
Would you drive if you went, Paul?
Well,
Would you
yeah, that's only about 8.5 from here, so it's
that's
actually
not
shorter.
bad.
Than,
There's no excuse.
That's
for
doable.
And there's more days. I mean, there's several. It starts like Thursday night.
Oh, wow.
They
Okay.
rock
But is there a
out. They
toy
do-
convention with it, or is that separate now?
Say that again.
It used to be Toy Lanta and Joe Lanta.
This
Are they
is-
separate now?
Yeah, there's two different ones. So this is just straight up Joe Lanta. So this
Okay.
one's different. But yeah, I think they start. They do a lot of like their own thing. It's not part of the showcase, I guess, but Thursday nights, I think they do something. I'm not getting there till Friday morning, and not leaving until late Sunday night, but it's the whole weekend.
But you're helping out our guest next week, right?
I'm helping Buddy. That's how I ended up being able to go this time around. I'm going to help out Buddy.
So how do you know Buddy? Fill us in, man.
Just from online, hooking up.
Oh, really?
Yeah, talking back and forth, and I've been talking about wanting to get down to Joe Lanta. I would love to be part of that team, and he hooked me up. So I'm looking forward to going.
A similar story with me. I ran into a new Buddy from online. He was a customer of mine and had bought a number of things from me. And he was at the Dallas show and came by and bought a whole bunch of misprints and stuff from me and gave me a bunch of golden tickets to give out. So, Paul, if you need to get in, I may have a golden ticket for you. So
there you go.
I might take you up on that if I make the trip.
Yeah.
Will, no chances of you making that drive, though, huh?
No, I didn't even know the show was happening. So, probably not going to.
You're what do you think?
I'm about 9 hours away. I'm in
9
Florida.
hours?
Yeah, I'm in South Florida. So,
Will, Will, you collect 3 3/4 inch, and do you do the 1/6 scale as well?
No, I don't have any 1/6 scale, but I'm a big fan of it. My buddy and partner over there on Largo's Lair, he just recently got back into the 1/6 scale. But I'm more interested in doing like 1/18 scale versions of like the Adventure Team and all of that stuff. So that's where we've kind of come together. So he's collecting it in doing his customs. I'm trying to come in and make my own for my scale, so
there's someone who 3D printed an MSV, the mobile support vehicle, in 1/18 scale. Cool. I don't know if you saw that one.
I have not seen that. That looks pretty cool.
Oh, very cool. And also the ATV. I've seen both of those.
Yeah. I just found this on Thingiverse. It was a Space 1999 moon buggy.
Oh yeah, moon buggy.
I printed it up and I made it like more of a
Adventure Team,
doing like an Adventure Team thing. And then Jim and I have a plan where I'm going to make one in 1/18 scale. We're going to redo the whole thing. That was just kind of a concept, and also give him one for the 1/12 scale, which he's a collector of also. So he's working on making 1/12 scale versions, and then kind of talk about the differences between doing it at 1/18 scale, 1/12, and then 1/6 scale. But because I'm so busy at work and stuff, I never get a chance to do that. But we thought it would be an interesting show just to show the difference in like how long it'll take to make it 1/18 scale versus 1/12 scale.
Yeah. PlayScale Soldier. Sorry, PlayScale Soldiers just said G.I. Joe Winterfest. I never heard of that one. Is that in Kentucky as well, or is that somewhere else? Never heard of that one.
Don't know.
No.
One of the cool things about the 1/18 scale stuff is a lot of those vehicles somebody put online. They're all over online. So
there was one. Yeah, there was a terrific guy. I forget his name right now. He was doing models of them for tabletop gaming. He was doing like 28, but he was building them in real scale off of the actual toy and then shrinking them down. So if you scale them up, they actually scale up really well. Some of them were not functional. They're just kind of just the shapes. But
static model,
I had downloaded and stored a bunch of those STLs when they were free because he got really mad at some guy for printing them and selling them online and took a bunch of them down. So there are some vehicles you can't get anymore. But I'll tell you, even just for fixing and repairing old beater vehicles, with the 3D printer, you could buy an incomplete beater vehicle and make it complete, with very little effort.
Yeah.
Will, what might be neat, and probably not too difficult to reproduce, would be the Adventure Team headquarters in 1/18 scale.
That would be really cool.
I think that would be really awesome. And, as far as 3D printing, it would be, the searchlight and, the little hangers and whatnot. But most of it is just those the inserts that show all the different communication room and the locker room. That would be a neat kind of thing to have in 1/18 scale.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, I flocked a couple heads
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
I've
Oh,
done a couple the gentleman who was on last week, Walter. What's Walter's
Okay.
last name? I flocked. He would send me a couple of the rock figure from Jumanji, and I would flock them. I made 3 of them. I made one sea adventurer. I made one land adventurer and one air adventurer. I put 1 millimeter flock on it and gave it a facial hair and a beard. And
I was telling Largo because I saw when they did the recently, maybe it was within a couple of years, but they did the world's smallest toys. They had a keychain G.I. Joe, and he had a flocked head. So I said, if they could do it on that little miniature,
I did it. I've done it, and I've done it better. And I've done Legos. I even have done Lego heads as well.
Oh, that's great, man! I'd love to see that. That's awesome.
Hey, Angelo, I did tell you that Mr. Ashby.
Yes, sir.
Mentioned it was so funny. I walked up to the table and they're like, Angelo. I was like, there can't be that many Angelos from New York. I was like, you guys talking about the Annabelle? And he's like, yeah, man. And then we just got to talk and he's like, yeah, we all used to hang out together. We're all from upstate New York. Him and Scott Ferguson was there.
Yep.
And they were all talking. And I was like, okay, this is cool. Yep. And then the coolest thing about the show was there was 2 guys that actually came up to me and said, hey, man, you're the guy from YouTube. And I was like,
yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I guess.
Look at you.
They said, you're Jim Egner. And I was like, oh, fuck. No, it was actually Andy from Indy. He had come up to me and said, hey. And then, Brad Curry caught me before I got over to his table. And then, it was a good time, man. It was just,
that's really cool.
What was interesting was there was a lot of Wills who just do the 3 3/4. But there was a lot of 12-inch guys, but there was no like animosity. It was like, I don't go to that dealer. Like I hit every dealer.
They're all fun.
It was like meshing. I mean, it really was. There was no like, those are 12-inch guys,
yeah.
Even Brad.
I see the 112 or the 1/6 scale stuff, and I'm tempted, but I am just so invested. Like I said, 1 wall, 2 walls, this big mess back here, plus a whole garage. That when I look at it, there is some some adult responsibility, even like the 1/12 scale. I bought a couple of them, but I'm like, I can't go into another scale. Like I gotta have some limits, even though they're not very.
Well, I'll tell you what, I made a lot of connections, and I made a lot of people got lined up for the next couple of weeks. Actually,
That's really cool.
Greg Brown from Cotswold's going to be on.
Awesome.
Ace Allgood. I don't know if you know him, but he was on. Yeah. Dude, he's an exciting guy.
Even if we don't collect the same things, it's still kind of the same. It's the same
toys
feeling. It's the same emotion. I enjoy your joy watching you guys talk about your collection and your stuff. So, of all my friends online, I'm probably like the only 1/18 guy. There's a couple of us, but most of them are into Motu. Some of them are just strictly into Transformers. Other ones are 12-inch Joes. So. But we all get together and, we all enjoy it. Just, for the fun of it.
We are over an hour, gentlemen, and I know Jim Egner's falling asleep on us, so we gotta say goodbye. We still got 8. We still got 8 people in the chat room in there, so I guess some people are still watching us. But thanks for tonight, Angelo. Do you want to say anything about our guest next week? You know him better than I do.
Well, I don't know a lot about Buddy. Just as I said, that he's an amazing artist, and he's really an out of the box thinker. Yep. And everything that I've ever seen him do is just so wild, and it's like trying to figure out being inside that man's brain. I don't even know how he would compartmentalize or figure out what he's. I think he just has an idea and just runs with it and does it, and changes it midstream. That just seems the type of guy he is, but he seems like a wonderful person. I can't wait to meet him in a couple of weeks in Jolanta, and it'll be nice to have him on the show next week and hear what he has to say.
Oh, definitely. I'm looking forward to it. And
he's quite the personality. You'll have fun.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. So, do you know if there's a special guest for Jolanta that they're having from like Hasbro or anything, or? No.
I don't know, because I know like they had Larry Hama. Was Larry Hama at Kentucky?
Ron Rudat was there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so usually there's a name, but I don't know because the Toylanta what happened was because Joe Lanta kind of fizzled for a while because they weren't getting enough people just to go for G.I. Joe, so that they incorporated toys, all different toys, so it became Toy Lanta, and that became the big show. People wanted Joe Lanta back, and they tried it a couple years ago. So Joe Lanta came back, but I don't think it's as big a venue as Toy Lanta.
Oh, okay.
So that's what I don't know if they have enough funding right now to get any big names there.
Okay.
I'll be there though. So
well, I mean, and that's with you and Jim going. If you and Jim are going to be there, then that's the only reason I'm going. So
I'm on the web page now. I'm trying to look it up here. So see if we can find out.
And Will, you're going to be on Largo's Lair tomorrow now instead of tonight?
Yeah. So they just had to push the show back because our guest just.
I hate competing with him because I like to watch his show, and it's like right at the same time. And I'm like, damn.
Well, you lead into each other, so Mondays are a busy night.
Yeah.
And Paul, they do like panels and such for the Joe Lanta.
Yeah, they did this. They did that at Kentuckiana as well. I couldn't make any, but.
Yeah, it looks like they've got a custom figure contest. There's a toy swap and a radio cult concert. So
yeah, they have a band that plays that night. So after the show more or less is over, then it continues on into the evening. And one of what is it? The name Radio Cult? What Radio
Cult? Yeah.
Yeah, they've played almost every single Joe Lanta I've ever heard that's been the band. So they have a following as well. And I guess it's a great time. So I'm gonna have to take some extra caffeine pills or something to stay awake because 9 o'clock hits. I want to go to bed, but I don't know, man. I'm gonna have to rock out.
It's one night a year, man.
Yeah, come on, man.
One night. It's gonna be the whole weekend. It's gonna be Friday night.
Is that Friday and Saturday?
Night? What's that?
You have a band Friday and Saturday night?
Well, I don't know. They must. I think they have
Saturday 9 p.m.
I'm sure people are gonna want to go out and hang out.
Yeah, sure.
Well,
maybe if I make it down, if I can swing it, maybe we could do like a live stream from down there.
That would be awesome.
That would be super cool. Yeah.
That would be awesome.
3 of us and get Will online and Largo's Lair can chime in. And
I think that would be really cool. And we could
all have a beer in our hands while we're doing a live stream.
Yeah. And do it right from the lobby of the show. That would be pretty cool.
Just have people walking back and forth and jumping in. So. All right, guys, it's about that time. I got to say goodnight to you all, and thanks again for jumping in.
Yeah, Jim, Angelo, have a great time at the show. If I don't talk to you before that, Paul, thanks for having me.
Yes, sir.
Fun as always. Thanks, Paul.
Yep.